What is going on, you guys? It's your girl Diana, back at you with another YouTube video. Episode 3 of Aim to be a Pokemon Master aired yesterday in Japan, and so today, per usual, I'll be giving you my recap and review. So if you're interested in hearing how I felt about the latest episode in the Aim to be a Pokemon Master series, then just keep on watching, and if you're new here, make sure that you subscribe because it helps you grow out, and give this video a thumbs up so that we can push it out into the YouTube algorithm so that more Pokemon fans can see it. And if you would like another way to support the channel, please feel free to check out the merch store. There is a link down below in the description that takes you to not only my merch store, but also all of my other socials so you can keep up with what I'm doing on a daily basis. But let's go ahead and hop into episode 3 of Aim to be a Pokemon Master. We start off the episode with Ash and Misty in a new town, wandering into a restaurant looking for some food to eat. As they're sitting there eating their food, they both talk about how the food seems oddly familiar and tell the waitress to give their compliments to the chef, which we then find out is Brock. Ash and Misty are super confused and ask why he's not out being a doctor, and we find out that he's actually taking a break from being a Pokemon doctor because he fell in love with the waitress that was actually waiting on Ash and Misty. So he's now the chef at the cafe that they wandered into. However, 3 seconds later, we find out that Miss Girl actually has a boyfriend, and he's coming back. So Brock is heartbroken. And so of course he's over here pouting, and Ash and Misty are trying to make him feel better, and while they're doing this, they happen to run into Silent, who Ash then introduces to Misty since they haven't actually met. Silent introduces himself as a Pokemon connoisseur, and Misty introduces herself as a gym leader. And although Silent's heard of the Cerulean City gym, he only remembers her 3 sisters being the gym leaders, so he straight up calls Misty a spare. He then goes on to examine Psyduck before noticing that Brock's pouting in a corner. Ash and Misty are surprised that Silent actually knows who Brock is, and he mentions that he had actually met Brock and actually watched Ash's latest match with him. But after a little reunion, the gang tries to cheer up Brock by taking him out to a flower field, which Brock thinks is beautiful, but then it reminds him of beautiful girls. So then he's sad again. So while Brock's out here being a sad boy, there's a Hatterene that's hiding in the woods at the edge of the flower field that senses his emotions, and actually creates an illusion of the waitress that Brock then chases into the forest. Rightfully so, the other 3 are like, what's happening? Why is he sprinting to the forest? But before any of them are able to follow Brock into the forest, Hatterene actually uses some kind of psychic attack to give them all headaches. And once again, they're all confused because they're like, why do we all have a headache all of a sudden? So Ash pulls out his Pokedex and they find out that they're being attacked by Hatterene. Eventually, the 3 of them are able to run into the forest to try to find Brock, and while they're in there, Silent of course goes all Detective Pikachu on us and tries to deduce what's going on. He ends up figuring out that the Hatterene placed some kind of psychic illusion on Brock, so the 3 of them are calling out for Brock, and while they're walking around in the forest, they run into a Hatenna, who they then ask to help them find Brock and Hatterene. And all while this is going down, Hatterene is over here with Brock basically giving him whiplash, making him think that the waitress is in love with him, and then 2 seconds later saying that she doesn't love him. But while the gang is still looking for Brock and Hatterene, they actually run into a Hattrem, which of course chases after them and tries to beat them up. But after they manage to escape, they're back to their quest to try to find Brock. However, all of them are apparently starving at this point, and they're all talking about food. And Silent actually makes a brief little reference to the Darumaka lunchboxes from the Keldeo movie, except it's a Galarian Darumaka in this one. Obviously, because this is still a continuation of Pokemon Journey, so technically it has to do with the Galar region. But while they're still walking around in the forest talking about how they're hungry, Misty actually runs into a Joltik, which I love Joltiks, they're so cute. But of course, our girl Misty hates bugs, so she's over here freaked out by it, which we love, another throwback reference. Silent then actually asks a really funny question, and he's like, so if you like water type Pokemon but you hate bug type Pokemon, how do you feel about Dewpider? So I thought that was kind of funny because it's a bug type and it's a water type. But Hatterene actually catches on that they're on her tail, and so she gives the gang visions of their own, and they all run off in different directions. However, these daydreams don't stay daydreams for very long, and eventually they all turn into nightmares. But our boy Pikachu comes to save the day with a Thunderbolt, shocking them all back into reality. But after coming to, the gang goes back into the forest to try to find Brock, and they actually do this time. However, Hatterene is 1 step ahead and casts another psychic illusion on Brock, making him think that Ash is actually the waitress's boyfriend. So Brock's over here mad. So he sends out Steelix, and Ash is like, hello? Why are you attacking me with your Steelix? What's happening? So they go into full-blown battle mode, with Silent's Pansage actually making an appearance to save Ash from an attack. Meanwhile, Ash is over here trying to protect Hatenna from getting hit, but eventually she does get hit by one of the attacks. But at this point, Brock manages to actually snap out of the illusion and realizes that he's been attacking Ash and his friends the entire time. And he sees that Hatenna has actually gotten hurt, so he runs over and goes full-blown doctor mode and starts healing Hatenna. Ash then of course pulls an Ash and walks in front of the entire group with his arms out being like, don't attack us, we're just trying to get Brock back, please, they're all my friends, don't hurt them. But it's not that convinces convinces Hatterene to stop fighting. It's the fact that she sees Brock healing Hatena, so she stops. We then pan up to the sky where once again we have a camouflage Latios watching the entire situation unfold. But then later on in the evening, Brock announces that he's actually going to be joining Ash and Misty on their journeys because he's still got a lot to learn. Unfortunately, Silent says that he's got other plans, so the trio parts ways with Silent at the fork in the road. They all wish each other the best, and we end off the episode with Ash, Brock, and Misty, the original trio, walking off to their next adventure. So my thoughts on this episode. To be completely honest, this definitely felt like something that could have been a filler episode in the actual main Pokemon Journeys anime. I feel like it didn't really do anything to progress the situation. It was just kind of like a little side story that just happened to happen, and the end result was that Brock joined Ash and Misty on their journey. So for me personally, this was probably my least favorite out of all the episodes that they've released thus far, which does leave me a little bit concerned on the direction that they're gonna take with this little mini-series. And I'm hoping that we get more episodes that are more similar to the Ash and Misty episode that we saw last week, because I feel like that was a good balance of something new that was happening as well as fan service and nostalgia. This episode definitely had throwbacks and nostalgias, but I just feel like this was a very unimportant episode. I did enjoy watching the episode. I'm not saying that it was a bad episode at all, but I did expect a little bit more out of an episode that's supposed to be part of a send-off series. So personally, I would rate this episode a 6 out of 10. Let me know your thoughts on this episode down below in the comments. But that's gonna do it for me today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Love you guys. Bye.